Hello, Memorial basketball fans. I'm Charles Strayer.
And I'm Teddy Harless.
And it's time to wrap things up. The brackets are out, the seasons are coming to an end, and we have got a lot to talk about here. Let's get started here with the girls basketball team.
Yeah, the girls basketball team has finished off their regular season strong this week, braving the elements to get a large win at La Crosse Central, and then despite a slow start against Eau Claire North, they were able to pull away a little bit in that second half, despite a good effort given by Ellie O'Keefe, who had 22 points and 6 steals, who had a much better game than their first showing.
Yeah, and we talked about having to limit O'Keefe, and that was going to be the key to getting that large victory against the Huskies, and consequently, O'Keefe was able to do her thing a little more, able to disrupt us defensively in addition in a way that she wasn't really able to the first time. And as a result, we got a much closer contest. However, we were able to close them out, secure a well-deserved undefeated run of the Big Rivers Conference this season, and we are cruising going into the playoffs.
Yeah, looking at some individual performances from that North game, we saw some good stuff from Marley Ferguson, who's continuing to have a strong second half of her season. She had 11 points and went 50% from 3 in that game. And Nora Kling had another great showing against North like she did in that first game. Not quite as much scoring, just 19 points this time, but still 19 is quite a bit. And then, of course, you can't talk about this North game without talking about Rayna Welsch, who had a dominant 24-point performance with 7-11 from the field and on her way to hitting 1,000 career points, a huge milestone.
And we actually got a couple words with Rayna Welsch after the doubleheader, where she was able to give us some personal insight as to how it felt to hit that amazing milestone, and we're going to show you a little bit of that right now. What's going on, Memorial basketball fans? I'm Mr. Memorial, happy to report that we have completed the sweep of the North Huskies for both boys and girls basketball this season. And I'm joined by one of the players who made it all come together, Rayna Welsch. You know her, you love her. Number 40, number 1 in our hearts. And you just passed a huge milestone here for the basketball world in general. You have hit 1,000 career points. So this journey started for you 4 years ago, well, even longer than that, obviously. You've been playing since as long as I've known you, and I've known you a while. So if you could talk to your younger self as you were growing up, through live ball or Eagles hoops, what would you say to her to just kind of give her the motivation to get where you are today?
I mean, this is something I never would have thought starting out the season this year. It's just crazy. I think just sticking with it though, working hard, through all the long days, the tough moments, it all worth. It's worth it every single second.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun to watch. It's fun to see it all come together. And a big part of, just how impressive it is that you've hit this milestone is you are a definite team player and a team leader. You've got so many up-and-coming athletes in the program. The program will be stronger, you having left it here at the end of this season. So with that in mind, how do you feel that the team has kind of molded you into the player that you've become?
Yeah, I mean, every single day in the gym, they're pushing me to be my best, and I think this team is just such a family, and so we all want to do our best for each other. We know that we're there for each other, and so they've just been such motivation to give it every single moment, give it my all. I love this team so much. All the girls are amazing, and I'm so proud of everyone and all the work they've put in. It's just been incredible working for each other.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. And I mean, we love to watch you guys. We hope you go as far as you take yourselves in the playoffs. Hopes are high, expectations are high, and I think you guys are ready for the challenge. So thank you for your time. And as always, go Abes. Thank you very much, Rayna. And, it is just an excellent thing to see a senior hit that kind of milestone at the end of the postseason. Rayna Welsch, there has never been a more deserving recipient of that. She has worked very hard these 4 years, and she is a team player through and through. Leading the way for a big win over the crosstown rival at the doubleheader was great to see that even though the Huskies, they were putting up a real fight, more so than we saw at the Doghouse. We were able to close it out, secure an undefeated conference record, and head into the postseason with a head full of steam. And we have our official Eagle Eye bracket predictions for you. We're going to break that down briefly heading into the first round.
Yeah, coming up on this first round, we will be playing either Oshkosh North or Chi High in the regional semifinal. Our prediction, though, of the entire bracket, we're the number 1 seed, but looking at the bracket, we think we're probably going to face off against Oshkosh North, then Marshfield, then Neenah, then either Spash or Hortonville, but if we had to pick one, we'd pick Hortonville.
It is interesting to note, however, even though we do think that Hortonville will be the team that we'll face there should we continue this win streak, Stevens Point, if they're able to get Hortonville, they will face us for a highly anticipated rematch game. As you may remember, way back when at the start of this season, they handed us our first loss in our season opener. And all things considered, I think, we'll obviously go more into depth with the bracket and with Stevens Point should the need arise. But right now, I think we are far and away a new and improved unit. And should we come up against Stevens Point, it's going to be a fun game in the sectional final.
Looking at some of our keys to victory in these playoff matchups that we predicted, Oshkosh North and Marshfield, Friday and Saturday, we think it's going to be those two teams. It could be the other ones, but we'll do a deep dive into those teams. Against Oshkosh North, I'd say it comes down to limiting Awut Alik, who is a 16.9 point per game scorer, is 6 feet tall, and has 4 D1 offers as just a sophomore. She is the only double-digit point scorer for the team. So really, if we're able to limit her, the team won't be able to get much going.
Yeah, and I think we've really danced this same dance a couple times here this season, so I don't think we'll belabor the point too much, but I think it's interesting to point out, especially a couple weeks ago against Rice Lake, against Adeline Shepley, was a great example of this, is that when we've been able to shut down this sort of star player, if they've got extra size, if they're known to be, really quick in the paint, like a sort of a Miley Cubby, Adeline Shepley situation, the rest of the team will fall with them. So we need to be aggressive on those boards. We need to be boxing out, because if we are able to control that interior presence, that's something that they're going to be used to getting the edge over in those games that they're able to achieve victory. So just like we did with Shepley, a week or so ago, we need to just kind of lock them down individually. I think Marley Ferguson has been doing a really good job on those players in a size disadvantage. So we just kind of need to recapture that energy in order to come away with a solid victory here.
Yeah, and looking at the game against Marshfield on Saturday, it really just comes down to repeating previous success. The last time we played them, the final was 57-38, a large win for the girls. And if you're looking at more one specific category, I'd point to points in the paint as a larger disparity. We had 30 compared to just their 18. So maybe just using our size to our advantage, creating another disparity in points in the paint. But it really just comes down to, we beat them before, we know we can do it, we just need to repeat that success.
Precisely. And in both of those games, it comes down to not only using our size, in Rayna, Welsch, Mary Adams, and those players in the interior, but our aggression. And that comes from all aspects of the roster. So coming in with that game plan, knowing how aggressive we can be at all levels, at all sizes on this team, is really comforting going into the postseason. We have got a good squad behind us, and we should take it a good long way.
Yeah, and then moving on to boys basketball, we had a big win against North, and then a unfortunate loss against Marshfield. With the game against North, it was not even close. We had 5 players with over 10 points.
Again. We did that last time, too.
Again. And it was just good to see a huge win in an amazing atmosphere. The house was packed. It was great to see.
And not to mention, it was something of a historic moment. In addition to Shamar Simmons, who we're going to shout out real quick, he, as an ensemble player, he's done well all season, but hasn't really shown on the stat sheet. but this time he had a plethora of excellent plays ending long possessions with a well-timed strike. 5 for 5 from the field and 10 points. He was as sparing as he was deadly there, and that's exactly the kind of role he's been filling. So a little bit of a thankless job for him, but that just shows the depth of the roster. Moving on, though, to Cooper Jesperson, who has deserved the spotlight he's gotten past a huge career milestone.
Jesperson from way downtown, and that does it. He just broke the scoring record. Cooper Jesperson just broke the scoring record. That makes Cooper Jesperson the Abes all-time scoring leader.
In the game against Eau Claire North, he got 16 points, which put him past the all-time scoring leader record, which is just quite possibly the greatest individual milestone a player can have for the Old Abes. It was a impressive milestone and truly great to see in a rivalry matchup nonetheless.
Yeah, and after the game, we actually got a word with him as well, so here's what he had to say after the huge moment.
Hello, Memorial basketball fans. I'm Mr. Memorial here at the Eagles Nest, where domination has happened once again. The North Huskies have been taken down by both the boys and girls basketball teams. And on a personal note for Cooper Jesperson, he has just become the Old Abes boys basketball all-time leading scorer with over 1,000 points to his name and counting going into a postseason where expectations are very high. So, Cooper, you were a varsity player all 4 years here at Memorial. You're entering your final season, but you started as just a freshman on the varsity squad. So, just kind of looking back, seeing the player that you have become, if you could go back, talk to your freshman self, what would you say to kind of keep him going and keep him motivated from where you are today?
Yeah, I would just tell them that failure's going to happen. You're going to go through trials and tribulations. You just got to keep your head up, keep working hard, and you'll achieve the goals that you dream of if you work hard. So I would also tell them to have fun. I love this game, and I always have, so I just tell them to have fun and not stress about it. So that would be my advice.
Nice. That's some pretty good advice, and hey, I mean, we all love watching you too, so good luck in the postseason. Congratulations on the win and being number one in the BRC. Thank you for your time, and as always, go Abes.
Thank you, Cooper Jesperson, for that excellent interview. It was great to talk to you, and it was great to see you hit that impressive milestone. Moving on to the next game against Marshfield, though, it was a bit of a different story. We started off slow, 0 points compared to their 17 to start, and we just couldn't really recover from that. We got outplayed in the paint as well, 16 points in the paint compared to 46, even though when we did shoot in the paint, we did relatively well, going 8 for 12 on our shots in the paint. And Marshfield, they didn't really need the three-point threat because they were so good in the paint there. They only had 9 attempts versus our 21 attempts from 3.
And in terms of back-to-back games, it's something we saw. We played MAS, did really well against them way back when in the holiday tournament. And then against Appleton North, I believe, we sort of fell short in that game because, simply put, it is hard to turn around in that little time and focus on so many things at once. But I think going into it, it serves as an important reminder more so than anything that we're going to have to play teams and beat teams the caliber of Marshfield and better as we get into the intermediate and final stages of these regional and sectional rounds. So it's just a bit of an important speed check there just to sort of see what we're going to be up against and know what level we're going to have to rise to.
And yes, speaking of those playoffs, the brackets have released for these Old Abes, but before we get to that, this week we have a game versus La Crosse Central on Tuesday and a game at Menominee on Thursday. But looking ahead at that bracket, we get to do something that is very exciting. We play Eau Claire North in the first round on March 7th. It will be very exciting to get another shot at that rivalry matchup. And looking ahead at the whole bracket, our predictions for it the whole way down is we think we'll play Eau Claire North.
Well,
we know we'll play Eau Claire North. Then we think Wausau West probably, Marshfield, and Kaukauna.
So in terms of the bracket, obviously in the next couple of weeks, as things develop, we will go more in depth. But looking to Eau Claire North, our first opponent, who, as we've been talking about these past few weeks, we've already had the pleasure of playing them twice, and it is a real opportunity. Not only is this a BRC opponent, not only is this a historic rival, this is Eau Claire North. This is the Crosstown Showdown Part 3. It is really a valuable opportunity, especially, these guys being seniors, so many of them, other than Ian Bauer, who will be sticking around. This is an opportunity to play the biggest rival for Eau Claire Memorial one last time. And I think we just need to kind of ignore the spotlight a little bit, ignore the lights of the playoffs. Just think about it in the moment. This is an opportunity to show North what we're made of once more, and we have the winning formula. The evidence is in the receipts. You go back on the schedule, and we have played Eau Claire North extremely well these past 2 times that we've come up against them. We have been the stronger team. We have been more team-oriented. Simply put, we have been the winning Eau Claire basketball team these last 2, and we've just got to do it again.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And we get a chance this week to have a couple bounce-back games to help lead into that playoff performances that we want to see. And with and pivoting back to North, we've seen that we can do this. We can dominate them. Like you said, we just have to not overthink it. In our previous matchups, we've averaged half as many turnovers, just a little bit more than half, or a little bit more than double their assists, and just a little bit under 3 times the points in paint of them. So we've just really been able to dominate them in a lot of different stat categories, and I expect it to be no different in the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the assists really jump out to me the most, because we are averaging 20 assists to their 7 over those last 2 matchups. And we were seeing it this last one, but especially at the doghouse. We were really zipping it around. All of these players, like we said, a lot of double-digit scorers in this one. We didn't really need to have that big scoring threat because everybody was able to do their job. They were able to poke holes in that zone, able to get around their individual assignments, and simply put, run the offensive side of the court so fast that North really didn't have much of an answer either time, the entire time they were on the court. So all things considered, going into the postseason, both teams with an impressive regular season behind them and a lot of hope for the coming weeks.
Yeah, it should be exciting. Girls entering their first week of the playoffs, boys building up to the playoffs this week. Just really good to see some good basketball coming up ahead. And, as always, go Abes!
Hi everybody, I'm Aidan Rickert, Eagle Eye's other guy. If you're interested in more MHS sports content, be sure to check out our TikTok, Instagram, and check out some of the other videos on our YouTube channel. And while you're at it, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more. Go Abes!